Enough. One word. That's all it took. According to the official court transcript, a single word from a judge who had finally reached his limit brought an entire courtroom to a standstill. The defense attorney froze mid-sentence. The gallery went silent. Cameras kept rolling, capturing what legal analysts are now calling the most consequential courtroom moment of the year. This is my courtroom. Not a political rally. Not a media circus. My courtroom. Newly surfaced court records show this moment wasn't spontaneous. It was the breaking point of weeks of escalating tension, boundary pushing, ignored warnings, and deliberate performances aimed more at the cameras than the jury. On page 247 of the transcript, the judge did something no one expected. He took control, and he didn't apologize for it. So what finally pushed him over the edge? One moment, one decision. One line the defense should never have crossed. Court filings dated just last week reveal that during a critical phase of testimony, the defense attorney stood and launched into what witnesses described as a political speech, complete with references to outside investigations, media narratives, and what the transcript calls inflammatory characterizations that had nothing to do with the evidence. This wasn't random. It was cumulative. The documents outline a clear pattern. At the first pretrial hearing, the judge issued a warning about courtroom conduct. Ignored. A second warning during jury selection. Ignored again. A third warning, documented in a sealed sidebar later made public, included a direct threat, one more outburst, and I will take action. And then came Tuesday morning, 9:47 a.m. courtroom 4B. According to multiple witnesses quoted in local coverage, the room was already tense. The prosecution had just finished presenting a key piece of forensic evidence, methodical, professional, by the book. Then the defense attorney stood. He didn't challenge the evidence. He didn't question the methodology. Instead, he turned partially toward the gallery, where cameras were positioned, and began what the transcript describes as an extended narrative statement. Your Honor, what we're witnessing here is part of a larger pattern. The judge cut in immediately. Counselor, do you have an objection to the evidence presented? I'm laying foundation, Your Honor. You're laying something. It's not foundation. The gallery shifted. Court reporters noted audible reactions. The defense continued anyway. That's when it happened. According to page 247, lines 12 through 34, the defense referenced ongoing investigations in other jurisdictions, suggested political motivation by the prosecution, and used the phrase, witch hunt, 3 times in 90 seconds. The gavel came down. Once, twice, 3 times. Counselor, approach. Now, what followed at sidebar is now public record. I have warned you repeatedly, the judge said. This is a court of law. We deal in evidence, testimony, and legal argument, not talking points, not sound bites, not whatever you're preparing for your press conference afterward. The defense responded, Your Honor, I'm simply advocating for my client. The judge's reply was immediate and verbatim in the transcript. No, you're performing. And I'm done watching the show. Return to your table, address the evidence, or sit down. Those are your only options. The courtroom fell completely silent. Witnesses say the defense attorney stood frozen for roughly 4 seconds, an eternity in courtroom time. And then came the moment no one saw coming. He didn't sit down. Your Honor, with respect, I believe the record should reflect. The gavel slammed harder. The record will reflect that you've been warned 4 times. The record will reflect that I have shown extraordinary patience. And the record will now reflect this. The judge leaned forward. This is my courtroom. Not a political rally. Not a campaign stop. Not a television studio. You will conduct yourself as an officer of the court, or you will be held in contempt. There is no third option. There is no appeal from this warning. Am I absolutely clear? According to the transcript, the defense answered with 2 words, Yes, Your Honor. He sat down. The prosecution resumed. Official records show the remainder of the day proceeded without incident. No speeches. No political references. No playing to the cameras. In 90 seconds, the judge accomplished what weeks of warnings could not. But not everyone sees it as a victory. The defense team and their supporters are calling it judicial overreach. And before you dismiss that argument, hear this, because some of it holds weight. A criminal defense attorney with 23 years of experience, not connected to the case, put it this way after reviewing the transcript: zealous advocacy isn't optional. It's required. When a judge shuts that down, even if it feels excessive, we should all pay attention. Today it's this lawyer. Tomorrow it could be any of us. Social media is split down the middle. Thousands argue the judge has been harsher on the defense than the prosecution throughout the trial. Court watchers point out instances where prosecution overreach resulted in quiet sidebars instead of public rebukes. One legal blogger documented 7 such moments. Appeals courts care deeply about patterns like that. Even journalists covering the trial daily admit the optics are complicated. Publicly dressing down defense counsel in front of cameras creates its own narrative, strength to some, bias to others. Constitutional law scholars are asking a more fundamental question, not whether the judge could do this, but whether he would have done the same to the other side. And here's the part most clips left out. According to sidebar notes released later, the judge also warned the prosecution. This applies to both sides. Don't test me. That detail didn't go viral. So where does that leave us? This isn't a simple story. The judge appears to have acted within his authority. The defense appears to have deliberately pushed limits, possibly to build an appellate record. Both things can be true at the same time. What the documents show is a slow-burn conflict, 6 weeks in the making, that finally collided in one explosive moment. A judge drawing a line most wouldn't. A defense team betting that crossing it would help them later. Whether that gamble pays off will be decided somewhere else, possibly on appeal. For now, the trial continues. The tone has changed. The rhetoric is gone. Both sides are noticeably more restrained. But this story isn't over, because once the verdict comes down, the real fight may just be beginning. And when the appeals courts weigh in, they won't be watching the viral clip. They'll be reading the same transcripts you just heard about. And that's where this story will truly be decided.